yourself. Well, country loved and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness and
Good evening, everybody. 5 o'clock, actually, in the afternoon on February 24th, 2026. Welcome to NASR. I am Billy DiNapoli. Call me Billy D. And you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And please subscribe to our North American Sports Report YouTube channel. But again, follow Billy DiNapoli on Instagram and Facebook and X. You'll see the NASR logo behind my name, Billy DiNapoli. I just want to put a wrap on the Winter Olympics and the United States hockey team's amazing victory over Team Canada 2-1 in overtime, and also the women's USA hockey team victory over Canada as well in overtime 2-1. First and foremost, and we did some shorts after the game, and obviously we had been celebrating a bit, and I'm going to tell you, I went out to some local pubs, and I took in the atmosphere, and it was quite amazing. It was quite amazing. Just the energy and people hugging each other, and just the whole spirit of the whole thing. But I will admit, leading up to these games for about a week and a half prior to the hockey showdown with Canada and the United States, I had gotten a lot of messages on some of the sports forums that I'm involved in, as well as here on the chat, Messenger, a lot of real, bad stuff from some of my Canadian brothers. And some of it was ugly. I mean, I had people making fun of 9/11, and the whole thing turned way too political, and a lot of the Canadians were really giving it to us here pretty good on our Messenger on the show and on all the sports forums I belong to. And I wasn't too crazy about it. I don't like to turn things political. If you've followed me, I rarely even spoke of politics until these last this last month, really. I see all the just hatred coming up from, the North with, this pending hockey matchup, and they just turned it way more political than it needed to be. Listen, I know some of you aren't crazy about the president. I'm not crazy about everything the U.S. president does. I am a little old school. I believe you support your country and the president. If the guy you voted for or the gal you voted for didn't win, you move on and you just get behind it, and you can vote for change when the next opportunity arises. That's what I believe. That's what my parents taught me. I'm kind of old school in that way. I don't believe in all the division. But I was hearing a lot of nasty stuff over a hockey game. So I'll be honest with you. When we did win, I did make a couple of posts with me celebrating and me kind of rubbing the salt in and sticking it to our Canadian friends. And I went a little crazy. It was a lot of emotion based on a couple of weeks of getting my balls broken, insulted over just rooting for my country and our hockey program. And I didn't really appreciate it, and I don't want to say justice was served, but boy, karma can be a bitch. They were talking lots of smack up north, lots of it. They're not talking too much right now, but I'm going to put a wrap on this. I'm not going to go into the political aspect of it anymore, but I am going to say one thing. And I heard a lot of people say this today. Dave Portnoy on Barstool, actually, he had something very interesting to say. I mean, I don't know if I want to get into all that, but his main point was, if you're triggered by a bunch of kids that are young men, and these guys are millionaires, they chose to go play for their country, they're pros. They actually put it in their collective bargaining agreement with their leagues that they needed to be allowed to go play for their country and play in the Olympics. So when their country comes a calling, they do the job, and then if the president calls to invite you to, the White House, well, this was Dave Portnoy today.
Well, calling the hockey team after they win, he invites them to the State of the Union, which I believe they are coming to, and he's like, also, boys, just to let you know, I'm going to have to invite the women as well, or else I get impeached. If I didn't, they all laugh, and I've been doing Barstool now for 20 years. There is no softer group of people than hockey Twitter. People are mad. They're going nuts. How could the hockey team laugh? Why are they talking to the president? That stuff, this should be a barometer of whether you're a psychopath. If the president calls after you win the gold medal, I don't care. If you don't want to talk to him, fine. You don't have to. But to get mad when you talk to the president of the United States and he's just congratulating him, chumming around, both teams are going to the State of the Union. If this speech made you mad, you need to take a Valium and maybe just take 1,000 steps back, because there's nothing to be mad about when the president congratulates a gold medal winning team. So it's wild to see the reaction to this video.
I agree. Dave Portnoy from Barstool, very successful, zillionaire on the internet. And I enjoy Barstool. I enjoy all their shows and sports coverage and their takes on things. And I agree with that completely. And as we know, the women have chosen not to go to the White House. The men did and are there today. Now, again, there's no need to turn that into a political brouhaha either, because the women did send a letter to the president thanking him for his support. A lot of these girls are in college. The NCAA tournament is starting. This was a last-minute thing. They want to get back to their teams and get ready to rock. There wasn't really a political agenda to why they didn't go. As a matter of fact, 4 men on the U.S. hockey team didn't go either, citing that, some of them have games in Canada tomorrow. They're going because of the weather, they had to go from Italy. They were supposed to go to New York. They had to go to Miami instead. And then from Miami, they're going to go to D.C. and then go to Canada. I mean, it's crazy. So some have just balked at it because it was last minute and travel, and they've got games to get to. They've got their careers to get back to. It's not, no one said, I'm not going there because I can't stand the president or blah, blah. No one did that. So there's no need to make a political story where there is not one. So there's that. On the game was amazing. And let's be honest, Canada played a great game. They were probably the better team for most of the game. The first period was even, 8 shots apiece. But the second and third, Canada had the better of the play without a doubt. We had the better penalty kill. We had the better goaltending. For the tournament, the United States of America was 18 for 18 on the PK. That is amazing, and that is the best in the entire tournament, and that's one of the reasons why they won. And, of course, Connor Hellebuck, who stopped 41 of 42 shots. 42-28 was the shot disparity in the game. Very even through the first. Second and third, Canada had the best of the play, but the OT was, the OT belonged to the United States. Obviously, you'll remember the save, the stick paddle save on Devon Tays, and poor Nathan McKinnon will remember missing a wide open net for some reason. I think Johnny Gaudreau came down from the heavens and his stick redirected the puck, because there was no way Nathan McKinnon would ever miss an open net like that ever again in his career. But it happened. It happened. Matt Boldy opened up the scoring on a beautiful move between 2 defensemen from Austin Matthews and Quinn Hughes to make it 1-0. And that stood up until the end of the second period, where Cale Makar tied the game from Devon Tays right before the intermission at the end of the second period. And then, of course, we all know Jack Hughes with the golden goal in overtime from Zach Werenski and actually Hellenbuck. But Hughes made the play where he was able to swat, poke, check the puck away from what was going to end up being a 2-on-0 Canadian rush. That turned into a 3-on-1 American rush. And Werenski, obviously, down the right boards into the corner, makes a beautiful pass across to Jack Hughes for the game winner. And all of the United States of America exulted. And obviously, all of Canada was heartbroken. And like I said, you know, Canada's amazing hockey country, and you know they have no reason to hang their heads. They were amazing.
Of this moment right now.
This is all about our country right now.
Jack
I
Hughes
love
here.
USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong. And we had so much support from ex-players. And I'm so proud to be American today.
This was such an incredible game to grind out. I mean, you're bleeding right through it just looking at you right now. Can you just talk about how difficult this gold medal was to win?
Unbelievable game by Hellebuck. He was our best player tonight by a mile. Unbelievable game. Unreal game by our team. That's just a ballsy, gutsy win. That's American hockey right there. That's a great Canadian team, but we're USA. We're so proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country.
What does this gold medal mean to USA Hockey?
It's everything. Like I said, the USA Hockey Brotherhood means so much. Look at these guys. We're such a team. We've been together for 2 weeks. We're such a team. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we're so proud to win for our country.
Jack?
That says it all right there. You couldn't have conducted yourself any better than Jack Hughes did right there. I mean, you couldn't have done it any better.
It's Werenski. Now Jack Hughes puts around the puck. The United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold. Jack Hughes beating Jordan Bennington.
Jack Hughes beating Jordan Binnington in overtime, and that wraps the gold medal for Team USA 2-1 in OT. Again, if you got to pick an MVP, it was Connor Hellenbuck, but the U.S. penalty kill, 18 for 18 in the tournament, had strong tournaments from a lot of the guys. Matthew Tkachuk had 6 points. Brady Tkachuk had 5 points. Quinn Hughes, who got the game winner over Sweden, 2-1. He had 6 points, as did his brother. I mean, those were the stars for the United States. The Hughes brothers, the Tkachuk brothers, and Hellenbuck, obviously. A lot of guys played well. Thompson had a couple of goals. Tage Thompson from the Sabres, Dylan Larkin. There's just Eichel. They all contributed in so many ways. It was really just it's something we'll remember for the rest of our lives. I'll remember and funny, today, the 24th of February, the anniversary of the gold medal against Finland in 1980, and this game was played on the anniversary of the victory over the Soviets back in 1980 on the 22nd. But I'll always remember where I was in 1980, watching the game with my dad on February 22nd, 1980, and I'll always remember where I was where I watched. I'm with friends and family here at my home before going out and just taking in the vibe of every bar and restaurant, people hugging each other, and the national pride you felt. I'll always remember the day of February 22nd, 2026. I'll always remember that day. I'll always remember it. I remember hugging my wife and you know, getting a message from my kids and you know, being with friends here at the home when we started the day off with eggs and pancakes and Bloody Marys, and obviously the game was on 8 a.m. and for my friends on the West Coast, they were getting up at 5 a.m. to watch it. I'll never forget it. And also we have to remember the women. The women led by Captain Hillary Knight with the game-tying goal, and Megan Keller with the overtime winner in their 2-1 victory over Canada. and the women with an amazing 7-0 run where they outscored their opponents 32-2 in 7 games to the U.S. women. 32-2 shots on goals for and against. 32 goals for, 2 goals against in 7 games, going 7-0, led by their captain Hillary Knight, their goalie Aaron Frankel, and of course Megan Keller had the golden goal in overtime. Hillary Knight, the game-tying goal on a beautiful redirection in front of the net as the women had pulled the goalie with 2 minutes to go in the game down to desperation time, and they got it done. They got it to overtime, and then they got the thrilling victory to cap their historic run. Again, 32 goals to 2. 32-2 is the score they put up against their opponents in a 7-0 run. So congratulations to the ladies, and obviously congratulations to both the men's and ladies. USA Hockey has been done proud, sweeping the gold medal. What does this mean for USA Hockey? Listen, the under-20 has been an even match for the last 15 years. I mean, the U.S. finished 4th this time around, but they had just won previous back-to-back golds. And basically since 2004, they've pretty much been dead even with Canada. I think both teams have won the same amount of medals. They both won 5 goals, and it's either 5 or 6 goals. I'm forgetting. I got to look up my junior stats. But I do know that they're dead even in gold medals in the last 20 years in the under-20 junior, which breeds all of these wonderful NHL prospects. I mean, I remember the U.S. winning gold in 2004 versus Canada, but then Canada went on a 5 straight medal run. But since then, it was USA in 2010, USA in 13, USA in 15, USA in 7, USA in they had back-to-backs just 20 in 24 and 23. They did lose this past year. So it's been pretty much an even heat between Canada and the U.S. in the under-20s, with the Americans kind of with the edge. And under-18s has been dominated by Americans for a while. And now we know that the women have been dominating. They've beaten Canada 8 straight meetings. And the men won the Worlds with the B-level NHL players just this past summer. So USA Hockey has changed the narrative. We don't take away that Canada created this sport, and they still may be the best at. Still 60% of all players in the NHL are from Canada. Now, that number used to be 85%, and the rest were probably, 10% were probably Russians, and then it got down to maybe 20% Russians, 10% Americans, and 70% Canadian. But nowadays, it's like 58% Canadian, and the rest are European and Americans. Like, the narrative has changed. The other countries have caught up to where they're all competitive. Canada is no longer the automatic shoe-in, gold medal world champions of international hockey every year round. It's no longer the case. And the Americans have evened the score with them, at least for the time being. We all know that Canada has 9 Olympic gold medals and overall in Worlds and Canada Cups, and, the biggest victories for the United States were the 60 and 80, and then this past Olympics 2026, the 96 World Cup was huge because that was the first time the American best beat the Canadian NHL best in a best of 3. But now you tack on all the success that U.S. has had in 18 and under juniors and 20 and under juniors, which I do believe, like I said, off the top of my head, since 2004, the last 22 years, they have the same amount of total medals, and they both have 6 gold medals. Pretty sure. I don't have the stats in front of me, but off the top of my head, I'm pretty certain. So there's no longer a disparity. The U.S. has caught Canada in at least being able to be competitive at that level. Not saying that Canada cannot still be the best at hockey, but they're not at the very moment. The United States are the gold medal champions, women and men's. And you know what? Canada will be shooting to get even, but for now, 2 years to the next World Cup and 4 years to the next Olympics, U.S. is going to get to sit with this throne for a while, and that's just the way it is. Our brothers and sisters up north are just going to have to deal with it, because we have caught them in relevance, at least. I'm not saying in overall depth, but in relevance and power of the program, we have definitely caught up to Canada. And you could say that about the Finns, the Swedens. When Russia gets back in there, all those countries are capable of knocking off Canada and us. Sweden, that's the Power Five, in my opinion. Canada, U.S., Sweden, Finland, Russia. And the Czechs are right behind you. So that's the layout for international hockey. We're super excited over our Team USA men and women's hockey teams. And as a whole at the Olympics, we finished second to Norway in a Winter Olympics. They're a winter country. We were second only to Norway. We pumped up 33 medals. We had a great Olympics for all the American athletes. But we are going to put that to rest now, and we are going to get on with the NHL, which starts back tomorrow, and we're going to start going over college hoops, and we're going to get you set for all that. But this puts a cap on our Olympic coverage. Again, I know I went a little crazy with some of my posts afterwards. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of looking to stick it at some of those people I've been leaving these negative posts and this political garbage on my thread and on the threads of many sports groups that I belong to. I was a little sick of it, and I kind of felt you all kind of got what was coming to you. Because, I love Canada. I love going there. I enjoy the people. I enjoy this great game that they created. But the hate ain't usually coming from our end. It's been coming from their end. I know the president can say some stupid things, and he does some stuff that might have turned you off in a way, but there's no reason to carry that into the sports world and boo our national anthem and do stuff like that. So I just want to put a cap on that. And again, I'm going to just reiterate, to end any more talk about politics, anybody that wants to insult the players about wanting to go to the White House or being respectful when the president called them in the locker room, you need to go get some help. Go take something, go see somebody. You got to get some help. Because if that stuff bothers you, I'm going to pray for you. If that stuff bothers you, you got bigger problems. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say about this. Moving on, that is the end of our Olympic coverage. Congratulations, Team USA. Give me a moment. Okay. Anyhow, let's get, turning on one of my prompters here. Let's get to what is going to be going on tonight. Again, I've spoken my piece. That's where we're gonna leave it. Switching gears. I haven't done a lot of NBA, but we're gonna get you set up to where the NHL will begin tomorrow. I am looking forward to actually taking in some games myself, to be honest with you. So tomorrow, the NHL will get back to work. 7 p.m., the Philadelphia Flyers are at the Washington Capitals. The Buffalo Sabres will be visiting the New Jersey Devils. The Toronto Maple Leafs will be at the red-hot Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning in the driver's seat in the Atlantic. The Seattle Kraken will visit the red-hot Dallas Stars. Kraken are in a playoff spot currently, and the Stars have been playing great hockey. The Colorado Avalanche are at the Utah Mammoth. I'm sorry, guys. So the Flyers Caps is a 7 p.m. start. Sabres Devils is a 7 p.m. start. The Leafs at the Lightning is a 7:30 p.m. start. The Kraken at the Stars is an 8 p.m. start. The Avalanche at the Mammoth is a 9 p.m. start. The Golden Knights at the LA Kings, that is a 10 p.m. start. The Winnipeg Jets at the Vancouver Canucks, that is a 10 o'clock start. And the Edmonton Oilers, poor Connor McDavid, boy, that guy, lose 2 Stanley Cups, lose the gold medal. Life's been rough on him. He'll be at the Anaheim Ducks, 10:30. That is our games for Wednesday. Thursday night, the Devils will be at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Devils playing back-to-backs to start things off. The Islanders at the Montreal Canadiens. There's a great game right there. 2 young, hot teams. Toronto Maple Leafs at the Florida Panthers. The Panthers supposed to be getting guys back. Marchand and Kachuk are healthy off the Olympics. They expect to be in the lineup. Ekblad will return. Rodriguez will return. And we're hearing that Dmitry Kulikov, their star Russian veteran defenseman, is only days away from rejoining the club, as are Tomasz Nosek and Jonah Gadjevich, their fourth-line bangers, who are intangible character guys in their Stanley Cup run. All these guys have returned to practice. I don't have a Seth Jones update. Again, obviously I feel terrible for Seth, who was hurt in the outdoor classic and had to miss the Olympics. And he missed the whole U.S. thing, so I feel bad. I don't know Seth Jones. Also, Barkov is back at practice. So the Panthers are a couple weeks away from maybe being completely back, restored to health, but I don't know if it's enough time. They're 8 points back with 24 games to go. So they're basically 4 games out with 24 games to play. So they need to get these guys back, and in a hurry, if they want to have a chance at a three-peat or getting back into the playoffs. The Red Wings are at the Senators at 7. This is Thursday. Blue Jackets at the Bruins. The Lightning will play Carolina on a back-to-back at 7. The Flyers visit the Rangers at 8. The Kraken at 8 are at St. Louis. The Blackhawks are at the Nashville Predators at 8. The Wild are at the Avalanche at 9. The Calgary Flames are at the Sharks at 10. And the Oilers are at the Kings at 10:30. So some of these teams, as you heard, they have back-to-backs to start their return. So before we get out of here, let's reset you with the current NHL standings. So when we left off, we updated this, and now that we're about to start back up, we'll go over it again real quick. In the Atlantic, the Lightning are first with 78 points, followed by the Canadiens with 72, the Red Wings with 72, the Sabres with 70, the Bruins with 69, the Senators 63, the Leafs 63, and the Panthers 61. Every team is over 500 in the Atlantic. Every team has a winning record. Metropolitan, the Hurricanes in first with 78, the Penguins with 70 points, the Islanders with 69 points, the Blue Jackets, who have been hot of late, with 65, the Caps with 65, followed by the Flyers, Devils, and Rangers, who, well, the Flyers are 5 games over, 61 points. The Devils, it's going to be rough for them. They're 1 game over 500 with 58, and the Rangers are out of it. They have the worst record in the Eastern Conference. So if the playoffs started right now, in the East, you'd have the Lightning, Canadiens, and Red Wings as your top 3 in the Atlantic, the Hurricanes, Penguins, Islanders as your top 3 in the Metropolitan, and your wild card teams would be the Buffalo Sabres with 70 and the Bruins with 69. Your closest teams to them are the Jackets and Caps, who are 4 points back. The defending champs have 61 points. They're 8 points back. That's your teams. Lightning, Canadiens, Red Wings, Hurricanes, Penguins, Islanders, and your wild cards are the Sabres and the Bruins. That's your 8 teams in the East. In the West, in the Central, you've got the Avalanche, 83 points, the Wild, 78 points, and the Stars, 77 points. Those are your top 3 in the Central. All have been playing well, followed by the Mammoth, Predators, Blackhawks, Jets, and Blues. The Blues are 8 games under. They won't be making the playoffs. The Mammoth are in the mix. That's pretty much it in the Central after the top 3. In the Pacific, you have the Golden Knights with 68 points, the Oilers 64, the Kraken 63, the Ducks 63, followed by the Kings, Sharks, Flames, and Canucks. The Canucks have the worst record in all of hockey, 18-33-6 with only 42 points. The second worst record in all of hockey is the St. Louis Blues, who are in last place in the Central. And the third worst record is the Rangers, who have the worst record in the Eastern Conference. So if the playoffs began today in the West, Avalanche, Wild, and Stars, who have all been playing great. Avalanche had a little bit of a slump, but they've rebounded. So the Lanch, the Wild, and the Stars are your top 3 in the Central. In the Pacific, the Golden Knights, the Oilers, and the Kraken are your top 3. And your wild cards are the Mammoth and the Ducks. The Mammoth and the Ducks. The closest team to that is the Predators, who are 4 points behind the Ducks, and the Kings, who are 3 points behind the Ducks. So the Kings and the Predators are still in shouting distance. Everybody else is out of it. Blackhawks, Jets, Blues, Sharks, Flames, Canucks. They're all pretty much out of it. I mean, okay, the Sharks are 6 points back, so I guess they have kind of a shot. And Max Celebrini has been amazing. What a season. They're on the right track. but it doesn't look good for them. So again, Avalanche, Wild Stars, Golden Knights, Oilers, Kraken, and your wild cards are the Mammoth and the Ducks. That is your current 8 in the West. We gave you the 8 in the East. That's where everybody sets up, heading down the 24-game stretch. Again, the East is tough. When you look at the East, it's going to be tough for a team like the Panthers, who are 8 points back, and the Leafs, who are 6 points back, and the Senators, who are 6 points back. I mean, the Blue Jackets are 4 points back, but honestly, none of these teams have shown any slippage. Maybe if Crosby's not healthy, maybe the Penguins could slip. The Bruins have played over their head all year, but they look pretty darn good. They look solid. They've had young players step up. They're led by Pasternak, McAvoy. I mean, I don't really see a lot of slippage. It's going to be very hard for the teams, even the teams just 4 points back, to make any headway. Like I said, we'll see about the health of Crosby. Maybe that has a factor in the Penguin situation. The Islanders are still kind of young and unpredictable. The Sabres have looked very strong. Even though they're young, they don't look like there's any letting up with them. And the mighty Tage Thompson, and they've gotten great goaltending from Lyon. I don't know, maybe the Bruins come back down to earth. That's the only teams I could see cracking a little to give somebody a chance to move up. I mean, the Leafs have been hot and cold. The Bruins, maybe. The Penguins, maybe if Crosby's injured. Maybe the Islanders, because of their youth. That's the only chances that teams like Columbus and Ottawa and the Florida Panthers and the Maple Leafs have to climb and jump some of these teams. But it's going to be really, really hard. Really difficult. So we gave you your 8 teams. In my opinion, the most impressive team in the East has been the Tampa Bay Lightning, the leaders of the Atlantic. The second best team, in my opinion, is the Carolina Hurricanes. And if I had to pick a third and fourth, I'd probably say the Canadiens and the Red Wings. The Western Conference, the Avalanche have pretty much been the best team all year, but boy, the Minnesota Wild and Dallas Stars, also in the Central, have looked scary good lately. And I do expect the Golden Knights and the Oilers to be in contention. I feel the Knights will win the Pacific, but I feel the Oilers will be right behind them and also get in the playoffs. Anyway, that is how we're going to wrap things up here today. We've put a bow on the Olympics. I'm not going to speak of it anymore. I'm not, especially the political aspect. I'm proud of our team and the way they conducted themselves, both the men and the ladies. And again, I have no problem with the men wanting to go to the White House. I think they've done the nation proud. They were respectful. And they were gutty. They beat an incredible team. The one similarity that this has with the Russian team, now you can't compare it to the Miracle because that was college kids beating professionals. That would be like Quinnipiac University beating the Stanley Cup champions. That was the disparity, and that is accurate. But they still had to beat a team that was better than them. Canada was the better team. They were deeper. They had more dangerous high-end players. They had Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid, who are 2 of the greatest players of all time. And Sidney Crosby, who did get hurt and couldn't play in the last 2 games. But when they had those 3 players on the ice, and then you got a young Celebrini, there are times when, you know, they had a power play unit out one day that was Celebrini and McDavid and McKinnon, and Crosby was out there. I mean, and Makar was at the point. I mean, I don't think I'd ever seen a power play unit of that power in my life on any hockey team. It's like when the Chicago Bulls had Jordan and Pippen. When you have the 2 best players on your team at the same time, like when the Lakers had Magic and Kareem. You know, when you have, in hockey and basketball, when you got 5 guys, if you got 2 of the all-time greats on one of your starting 5, you're going to be one of the better squads, always. So they definitely had that as far as top-end players. They had 2 of probably the top 5 players in the world on their team. I mean, who are the top 5 players right now? McDavid, obviously, up there. McKinnon. I would say Sasha Barkov, when healthy, is one of the best two-way players. You could say Kucherov, the Russian, the fantastic Kucherov from the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's probably my top 4. And 2 of those guys are on Canada. So yes, we beat a better team. We had a deep team and a great team as well. And we proved, with a little teamwork, a great penalty kill, and a goaltender who's hot, you can surmount the odds and beat somebody who's maybe a little bit or a notch above you. And that's what the United States did. And we are certainly proud of them. Certainly proud of them. Obviously a 3rd gold medal at the Olympics and the 4th gold medal they've won. You have to count the World Cup. If you count the World Cup and World Championships, the U.S. have 6 gold medals. And they have 16 medals total. And listen, most of this has come, if you got 16 medals in 66 years, that's not too bad a ratio. It's like you're potting one every 4 or 5 years. And honestly, since 1960, Canada has got the same amount of Olympic golds as we do. They got the first 6 of their 9 in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So you want to talk current, again, we've closed the gap. All right, boys and girls, I'm out of here. It's been great. We went through all the hockey. I do want to give a shout out to my Miami Hurricane supporters. We do have tonight a rivalry game in college basketball. We have the Miami Hurricanes and Florida State at 9 o'clock. So check it out. And I will see you guys. I don't know when I'll see you next. I'll post my next show time. I got to get to some college hoops, and I got to get to some NBA that I have neglected, and we will also be on top of the NHL. That'll be our first priority because we do love ourselves some hockey here. So we'll be giving you a lot of the hockey and the college hoops, and yes, we will even get to the NBA now that football and the Olympics is behind us. I hope you've enjoyed the Olympic coverage. We tried to get in depth, and we did the best we could. We think we gave you good coverage, and we gave you all the rosters, all the players on all the nation's teams, and took you all the way through it. It was very exciting and thrilling and great hockey. I will talk to you guys later. I'm Billy DiNapoli. Thank you for watching the North American Sports Report. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can always follow Billy DiNapoli on Facebook and Instagram and X. Thanks.